I don't know how far I'm gonna get, but we're back to the Haruka bad end. And what I'm probably gonna do, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have to cut a lot of video that I recorded yesterday, but I'll have to edit it in some way, I guess. Because I found out what was wrong with my game. Found out why it wasn't letting me continue on. And it's because the .avi videos just didn't want to work with me. So I can just click that. Now, we've already seen this stuff, and I have obtained a more recent version of the game that works. It's in full screen on my computer now, so I can read it better. And I can just press this button. We're all the way back to where Haruka died. Ta-da! Isn't that amazing? As I wake up, I kick the covers off the bed with all my might. Still half asleep, I blankly stare at the ceiling. I realize I'm freezing. My body is soaked with sweat all over. Haruka! What happened to Haruka? Despite my body's protest, I raise my arm to check the time on my watch. It's Monday, 9:17 a.m. I lower my arm. Take a deep breath. My whole body feels sluggish. My parched throat begs for water. I take another deep breath. A dream, huh? What an awful nightmare. The first. Isn't that impossible? Last night, I definitely went on a walk with Haruka, and then she tried to save that puppy. A dream? Was that a dream? It's too clear for a dream, though. I just don't remember that moment. I have memories of what happened before that day and the day before that. I misread something. I don't just remember that moment. I have memories of other days, too. Yeah, I remember what happened during the whole seminar camp. So if the memories are real, what does that mean? There's no way that's possible. I coldly smirk, mocking myself. And at that moment, the door to my room is violently thrown open with enough force to break it. In the doorway, I see Yuka. She's repeating herself. She said the exact same thing on the morning of the first. I'm unable to answer her. She gives me a stare. It's kind of awkward. There we go. I have that open now. I might as well confirm the facts. The living room is empty. Door slowly opens, and a girl passes by me without stopping. I can only silently stare as she walks away from me. Her back is facing me. Perhaps I'm still dreaming. I stare at her back, my breath having been taken away. It's Haruka. She is right here in front of me. Warm and breathing. Haruka, who shouldn't be alive, is a short distance away. My heart is filled to the brim with a surge of happiness. Heat spreads through my body as my heart dances wildly. Wrapped up in an entrancing sense of ecstasy, I stagger to my feet and head over towards her. Standing next to her, she's in front of the sink. I blankly stare. Without a word, she turns on the faucet, filling her cup with water. With a tiny sound, she drinks the entire cup in one large gulp. Haruka, you're alive. They come out of my mouth. Clam up. I don't know how I should answer her. My mind is still in chaos. I'm unable to fully grasp the reality before me. Why? Haruka doesn't bother to turn it towards me as she asks. She just stares at the faucet. It's exactly the same as the day before. It's the first time. Haruka. Haruka. I don't know what I want to tell her. All I do is say her name. Haruka says this suddenly. I have nothing to gain from that. Because I am nothing. Painful word. Feels like everything we worked towards has crumbled up into dust. She has lost sight of it once again. Her heart. She slips right past me and returns to the living room. I go after her while sorting things out in my hand. At that point, he shows up, entering the living room, rubbing the sleep out of his eyes.
Yeah.
He says this with such a gaudy voice that it causes me to shiver repulsively. Yes, Haruka, this. He ignores my presence. Nah, there's no way it's like that. While laughing, he glares at me again. His eyes are filled with scorn. Everything's exactly the same. Means today really is first. No, it's too early to be jumping to conclusions, right? Alright. We'll confirm if today really is the first. Haruka's alive anyway. That is good enough for me. I tried my best to let this day go by as I remember it. This terrible breakfast, my conversation with Harumi, who delivered the pizza to us instead of Saki. We leave to go play tennis. And just like the last April 1st, I follow Haruka. She's on top of the wrecked ship washed on the shore. Just like back then, she's sitting on the bow of the ship, firmly staring at the ocean. Her soft hair sways in the breeze. She looks my way and our eyes meet. Why are you here? I followed you here. Because I was worried about you. Haruka. Because I'm different, it's fine. Haruka, don't say that. Let me do something real quick. There we go. If you stay like this, then in 5 days, that time, hear Yuka no Kiku's voices in the distance. I turn around to find their figures walking down the coastline. She seems to have noticed them. We quickly hide in the shade of the ship. Later, we hear Yuka and Okihiko's voices as they disappear. Haruka places her hand on my shoulder. When I nod, we step out from our hiding place, and we start walking the beach. As she walks in the sand, she takes off her shoes and socks. Haruka. Did you think I was going to strip naked? No. She nonchalantly soaks her bare feet in the ocean. Her eyes are fixed on the faraway horizon. I just have something to say. Oh, the words you said earlier sounded kinda lonely. What's lonely? Because I'm different. You said that earlier, didn't you? And this morning you also said, because I'm nothing. I have no heart. That's the way you think, right? I say this. Taken aback, Haruka turns to face me. A disturbed expression rises to her face. She hesitates mid-speech. How? How did you... I knew. I know a lot about you. She stares at me. I embrace her and wrap my arms closely around her. That hurts. I loosen my embrace at those words. Sorry, I was just so... So? What's the rest? Happy that I got to see you again. No, I doubt you'd believe me if I told you. The reason doesn't matter anyway. It's because I'm happy. Her stare almost feels like it hurts. Her eyes are filled with curiosity. Complex feelings of bafflement mixed with expectation and fear. Not and fear. Bafflement mixed with expectation appear in those eyes. Then Haruka suddenly speaks.
したことある
Have you ever kissed someone?
したことある
Have you? It's definitely... Where is it? Of course. I kissed her on the forehead back then. But you know, you shouldn't really ask something like that.
そう
Is that right?
じゃあどうして人はキ
And
ス
why
す
do
る
people kiss? To demonstrate their love and confirm their feelings.
確かめ
That's right.
じゃあキスしてキス
She draws her face close to mine. Her expression begins to overwhelm my senses. For some reason, the event that was supposed to happen 2 days from now is starting early. But I can't kiss you for a reason like that. Repeat the same words as last
じゃあ
time.
誠には私に対する愛情がないってこと
Then does that mean you don't feel any affection for me, Makoto? That's not it. I vigorously declare this. The feelings of affection I have towards Haruka are now so much greater than they were at our last kiss that there's no way to compare the difference between them.
それじゃあ
I understand. Then close your eyes. Stare at her face. Her cheeks quiver like jelly from nervousness. Her lips glisten. I kiss her on the forehead again. Only lasts a moment. For some reason, I feel embarrassed and draw back. Her eyes snap open as she stares at me.
これが
When I return her gaze, a faint blush appears on her cheeks. I'm captivated by her eyes. The cold waves solidly splashing against her feet. She's bathed in sunlight. The sea breeze begins to blow in the space between us. I wonder how long I've been watching her like this. For her sake alone, I will live through these next 6 days. Think this over and over again. I will never let her say she has no heart ever again, because Haruka is her own person. I let everything happen as it did before. A meeting with Kurumi and the others, buying our ice, our dinner, going to the pool, and the earthquake. Everything is a repeat of what I experienced in the past. It's like watching a scene from a recording play in front of me. It's rather surreal. It's not just the events. I think I'm unconsciously repeating my own actions too. I'm on top of the terrace at Luna Beach, all excited after the pool incident, discussing whether or not to go to the pool tomorrow. Since I already know what the final verdict is going to be, I stare off into space and tune out the conversation. Just, what am I? I have memories of the future, but everything else is exactly the way it was from the past, including my body and surroundings. Thinking as hard as I can't figure it out. It's impossible. Maybe I'm crazy.
ダイビング
I hear you could conspicuously high voice. I stop thinking and focus on the conversation.
商店街にスキューバの道具を貸してくれるところがあるん
Yeah,
です
there's
が
some scuba gear.
それは無理よ奥ひ
どうしてですか
そうじゃなくて明日は
There'll be
波が
high
高
waves
いから
tomorrow.
波が
そう南の方に季節外れの
Cyclone is
熱帯低
coming
気
in.
漁師の源さんが言ってたことだから間違いないわ
There's no doubt about it.
沖の方が荒れてるから漁に出れない
You can't fish because of the
そ
storm.
れに今回の低気圧移動速度が遅いから1週間ぐらい
Oh, and the cyclone will be around for a week. This is horrible. I can't believe I forgot about something so important. Taking Haruka and escaping the island. That was supposed to be my last resort. Izumi-san, if that's true, does that mean the ferry won't go?
そりゃ当然海
It's
が
only natural. Until the sea calms down, service will be suspended.
どうしたの誠
What's wrong, Makoto?
はあ大
It's alright. It was only gonna be for a week.
間くらい
It
だった
should be all down.
頃には運行も再開
The sea should calm down before the seminar camp ends, right? Yeah, you're right.
どうかしたはるかちゃん。
What's wrong, Haruka-chan?
様子が
He's acting strange. Ishihara,
のこと
don't worry about him. He's always strange. Haruka looks at me with concern, and I return it with a reassuring smile. I'll be alright. Even if I can't leave the island, I'll get through this somehow. Because this time, I have my memories. I'm very tempted to pull up a song. Notifications. It's a Gundam uploaded a video. Alright, I have nothing to worry about because I have my memories. Before long, the time has come for us to return to the lodge. We walk down Moon Beach. Like last time, we've decided to return by walking down the beach. I suddenly stopped walking. I just remembered something. Around here, there's a bell. I check my surroundings, and at the beach, there's a group of lights coming from sea fireflies. Unlike that time, I can't find that radiance lying in the beach. It's not here, so it's impossible. History has changed very slightly, but just enough. I don't know why I'm yawning. For example, I kissed Haruka 2 days earlier than expected. Thanks to that, I feel a sense of security. That small change will mutate into a large alteration of history. Because I never found the bell, and never threw it away, that means Haruka won't be able to get it. I no longer feel hesitant. I know that Saki will be swallowed up by that monstrous wave today. I have to find some way to prevent it. When I think about it, it was because of this incident everything started going wrong. Well, it's great and all that I've decided to prevent it, but where do I begin and how? I went along with the flow, and we're finally here. We walked to the pier carrying our fishing rods. At this rate, the result will be the same as last time. Can't let it happen. Absolutely not. I need to stop Saki from going out towards the pier. Before that, I should stop Saki and Haruka's quarrel. I call out to Haruka. Haruka, would you like me to teach you how to fish? When it comes to fishing, I'm not the greatest, but I can still...
石原 お前ちょっとはるかちゃんに慣れ慣れしすぎるぞ。
Ishihara, you're getting way too friendly with Haruka-chan. It doesn't concern you.
それが関係あるんだ
It
よ。
does concern me. Look, piss off, I'm busy right now.
何が忙しいんだよ。
With what? Instead of wasting time with you, I could be. That time, I hear the echo of Saki's voice. Saki and Haruka are quarreling before I notice. I immediately start running. Saki screams at the same time as the booming roar of the wave breaks out. I didn't make it in time. The unbelievably large wave strikes the pier with a large sheet of water. As it strikes, the waves devour Saki and drag her into the ocean. Frozen in place. I couldn't prevent it. Even though I knew about it, I couldn't prevent it. Tsumi-san runs and dives into the ocean, off the tip of the pier. She should be alright. In the end, Izumi-san saves her. I stand stock still on the beach. I tried to change this. I tried hard to change this. But the reality of that incident happened again. It's impossible for my will to change history. On the way back, everyone seems to be at ease. The tension in the atmosphere is somehow unwinding. Everyone seems to be relieved that everything turned out alright. The red sunset is also contributing to the reason we're all calming down. I'm still anxious. How can I change history? Is it even possible? When I get into bed, I can only continue thinking the same thing. I failed to prevent Saki from being walled up by the monstrous wave. Still, it's not like this past is exactly the same as my memories of the ones before. No, in the first place, is it accurate to consider this the past? After all, the events you experience at points ahead of time are not the past, but the future. Either way, it doesn't change that tomorrow will be a challenge, the day Haruka was revealed to be a clone. How do I prevent that from happening? Can I, with my will alone, change history? Or change the future, being what it is? I don't understand. My thoughts are disordered, and I can't settle down. I fall into a deep sleep. Fishing with Haruka. I've seen it countless times before. It's tranquil. It's peaceful. It's happy. I don't catch any fish, but that doesn't matter. It would be nice to let this repeat over and over. That's what I genuinely think. But the tragedy happened in the early hours of the 6th. I don't want to experience that ever again. Till then, I've got to do something. Anything. How long have I been wandering in a dream? My headache forces me to wake up and I jump to my feet from the bed. My room is filled with the dazzling morning sunlight. Today is the 3rd. Saki will reveal to everyone that Haruka is a clone. Okihiko got pissed when he learned Haruka and I kissed. Saki practically exploded when she saw that happen. If Okihiko doesn't get mad, then the problem with Saki shouldn't occur either. And if Haruka and I don't kiss, it'll all be good. But we've already kissed. What should I do? Standing here won't solve anything. I walk towards the door. Someone knocks. Haruka, did you come here to wake me up?
約束したか
Because you
ら
made a promise. That's right. Last night I promised to go fishing with her. Third in my memory, she didn't do this for me. Something's changing. Let's begin right away, whatever it is. We arrive at the pier the same as always. She becomes engrossed in fishing while I stare at her face. A natural smile rises to our lips, and I cherish the time I spend with her. We don't have much time left, however. This afternoon will be a challenge. Now's not the time to get intoxicated with euphoria. Haruka, please listen carefully.
何？
Haruka turns towards me while dangling her fishing line on the surface of the sea. Today, perhaps something really bad might happen. But it's going to be a misunderstanding. So I want you to not get upset and remain calm.
え？何のことを言ってるの？
What are you talking about? You might not understand it right now, but I want you to believe me. Her honest eyes look straight into mine.
わかった。誠を信じる。
I understand. I'll trust you. Thank you, Haruka. Relieved by the words, I cast my baitless fish hook out to sea. Right now I want time to think, so I'm not going to be fishing. All that's left is to make sure Okuhiko doesn't get angry. What should I do? For now, I should try not to kiss Haruka today. It's time to head back. I tell her this, now that the sky is a brilliant red. We haven't kissed. The truth is, I was on edge, wondering if she would bring it up. But in the end, she never showed any signs of doing so.
結局、誠は釣れなかったね。
You didn't catch any fish today, did you? Nope, but you got more than enough to compensate for it.
また、一緒に来てくれる？
Can we come here again? Of course.
約束。
Promise? Promise. Come on, everyone's waiting. Let's go back.
うん。
We decide we should return later than we did last time. Maybe the incident won't happen. That's what I hope, but... When we return to the lodge, we find that the others haven't come back yet. What should I do? First, the most important thing is to make sure Haruka isn't left alone with Okuhiko. In the short time that I have, instead of returning to my room, I rest in the living room with Haruka. Are you tired?
大丈夫。
I'm alright.
楽しかったか
I
ら。
had fun, so... All of a sudden, the front door is violently thrown open. It's Okuhiko. He strides towards us while straddling his shoulders. Saying he's not pleased would be an understatement. Before long, he makes an imposing stance in front of Haruka and says this.
どうして石原なんかと釣りに行ったの？あいつのどこがいいわけ？
What do you see in that asshole Ishihara? He talks as if he's ignoring my existence altogether.
誠は
Koto is
優
cunning
しく
to me.
優しい。石原が？
Ishihara is nothing but a vulgar bastard.
どうせ何か
Clear as day, he has an ulterior motive.
私たちは信じ合っている。
はる
We
か
trust each other, you wouldn't
石原
understand.
のこと分かってないよ。
You're the one that doesn't understand about Ishihara.
私と誠のことは
What's
怒り
going
込
on
みは
between
関
us
係
is
な
none
い。
of your
い
concern.
やある。関係あるよ。
It does concern me, Haruka. Hold it right there. Haruka, let's go. We don't need someone like him killing me.
待って。私と誠信じ合ってるってこと。奥彦に言ってあげて。奥彦には関係ないんだって。どうして黙ってるの？
They're waiting for me to speak. How should I answer? We trust each other.
誠とは信じ合ってるの。
はるかちゃんになんてことをするんだ。君の持ち物。はるかちゃん、こんないい加減なやつのどこがいいんだ。
What's so good about Ishihara?
誠はいい加減じゃない。
He's not irresponsible.
僕は違う。信じるなんてレベルじゃない。愛して
I
いる。
love you, Haruka-chan.
わからないのかい？僕を見るんだ。君を愛している男がここ
I
にい
don't
る。
understand them. He's right here. Haruka looks away from his face and looks at me. She seems to be seeking me.
はるかちゃん、
Stop it, Okihiko. A sound echoes in the living room. Saki is by the front door carrying a basket. By her feet are tennis rackets scattered about. In the end, time didn't change. It's completely dark outside. I gotta do something real quick. When I come to my senses, I notice that it's completely dark outside. I'd returned to my room, and now I'm sitting down on the bed in a daze. I'm absent-minded at the moment. Saki got angry and revealed the truth about Haruka. History is completely repeating itself. So even if I struggle, it's all futile. I am crushed by my own powerlessness. After a while, I hear the sound of knocking. It's Haruka. She enters my room, but doesn't open her mouth. I'm not looking forward to what she say. Oh, it's not like she's looking for what she's saying, for words to say. I don't know why I'm tripping over my tongue. She's standing still, seeming as if she's waiting for me to say something to her. This isn't something you should really worry about. Say it gently. I really don't want her to be worried by it. I don't want to see Haruka looking depressed over thinking there's an issue with her being a clone.
だから
That's
私に
why
心がないの
I have no heart.
誰かの代わりだ
Because I'm someone else's replacement.
コピーに過ぎないから
I'm nothing more than a copy.
驚いた
Not at all. I already knew about it from last time besides. Even if you are a clone, Haruka's Haruka. Nothing has changed between us. That's why I don't think anything of it, and that's why you shouldn't be worried about it. I answer while choosing my words carefully. A surprised expression appears on her face, like her breath's been taken away.
嬉しい
I'm happy
誠に
to hear that
そう
from
言
you,
ってもらえ
Makoto.
て
She smiles. It's a tender grin. We trust each other. I remember her words. My heart is brimming with emotions. I want to somehow convey these feelings to Haruka right now. I want to show these feelings in a way that words cannot express. What should I do at a time like this? I already know that. I touch her hair and bring my lips near her forehead. Then I notice something. In the recesses of her now exposed forehead, I find a small scar. It's like something I shouldn't have seen, so I take my hand out of her
どうした
hair.
の
Oh, it's nothing.
誠何か隠してる誠と私信じ合ってるのに
Kodo, you're hiding something, even though we trust each
私の
other.
額
You've just been gazing at my forehead. She must have realized that I was firmly staring at her forehead. Yeah, we trust each other. She's right. I can't hide it. I have no reason to. I ask her, that scar on your forehead, how did you get it?
傷跡これのこと
She says this and parts her bangs. It really is there. A small, thin scar that I would have never noticed had I seen it if I hadn't seen it up close. How did you get that? I ask one more time. She remains silent as if to say, who knows? You don't remember? She nods. I see. I mutter this and lower her bangs.
それじゃ
And then,
おやすみ
good night. Haruka leaves the room as if nothing happened. The last smile she shows me calms my heart down. Our small exchange managed to erase my previous depression. It's probably not just me. I think she's going through the same thing. After she leaves, I hear another knock on the door. Izumi-san enters the room. Turn out Izumi-san.
私の父親
Okay, she's talking about how her father is Dr. Marino. What did I say? Oh, it's B. Izumi-san, your father hasn't made any clones, has he? Her face goes pale. I've never seen her like this. Did I ask something wrong?
そうじゃない
It's
そう
not
じゃ
it.
ないんだけど
But
誠くん
listen to me carefully.
私ちゃんと聞い
The
て
clone trial. The scientist who thought of making a clone despite knowing he could receive severe punishment. Because he wanted to see his lost child again.
そう会い
My
たかっ
father was also the same. Not telling me that
た
he...
が
Harumi was kidnapped shortly after she was born. Dumbfounded, I become lost in Izumi's story. It happened without warning. One day, her parents went out shopping, taking their 1-month-old baby with them. In that shopping center, they took her eyes off her for 1 second. Then suddenly she vanished. All that was left was her empty stroller. In other words, Karumi had been kidnapped. According to the witnesses, the kidnapper's demands were already left behind in the stroller. A bounty for the criminal was quickly placed as the police searched tirelessly for her. The media extensively reported on this, but in the end they couldn't find her. And then around 1 year after her disappearance, Marino decided to recreate Karumi. Wanting to see his child again, no matter what, he used technology to achieve his goals. If anyone found out, he'd be severely punished and booted from the world of genetic engineering. Despite that, he began working on a clone. First, he obtained a sample of Karumi's blood. It was in the cold store to a university hospital because it had been taken after birth to be examined to see whether or not she had any diseases. Nucleus extracted from her blood cells was then transplanted into an egg cell that had already had its nucleus extracted, then implanted into the mother's womb. 9 months later, Karumi's clone let out her first cry. Izumi-san was 2 years and 11 months old at the time. She has no real memory of her own. It seems that this story was just one her parents told her directly after it happened.
けど子供って残酷よね。そうしてできた第二の妹を私は随分いじめた。
I was cruel to my sister.
だから
So I said horrible things.
私の本当の妹じゃな
I
い。
told her she wasn't my real sister and pushed her one time when she chased after me.
ひどいでしょう。
I was awful.
いくら子供とは言っても
It was a child, but that was no
血
excuse.
が出てた。
She was left bleeding from her forehead.
もしかして傷が残ったんじゃないかな。かなり深
I
く。
wonder if that gash is still there. It was pretty deep after all.
私は誰の
That's why I try not to look at anyone's forehead. Hold on, Izumi-san. I'm covered in goosebumps. One more time. The girl's forehead has a scar on it? Izumi-san gives me a slow, deep nod, biting her lip. Then what happened to the girl after that? Izumi-san quietly continues as she gazes out into the distance.
くるみが
One day, Karumi was suddenly found. 3 years after she'd been kidnapped, the real Karumi was found. Her father doted on the clone girl, but when the real Karumi was safely placed back into his care, the situation became troublesome. Of course, he loved them both. But clones were faced with persecution. If he kept both of them, as they grew up, the fact that one of them was a clone would come to light. So he decided to give up the clone girl. She was adopted by a reliable couple who worked in the laboratory. Izumi-san leaves the room after finishing her story. In the empty room, my thoughts turn to Haruka. Someone's replacement. She said that. The most important thing about Izumi's story is that Karumi might be Haruka's original. Haruka must be dying to learn this sort of information about her roots. On the other hand, if Haruka learned the truth, she might end up suffering more. She's self-conscious enough as it is due to the fact that she's a clone. Furthermore, it might make things even more awkward if she learned that her original is an acquaintance. With thoughts reach this point, I let out a loud sigh. It echoes in the dark, quiet room. What should I do? That's right. Struck by an idea, I stand on top of my bed. I need to prove those two aren't the same. Isn't that the most effective method? I'll look for the differences between them. I'll pick the most distinctive one, and if I do that, Haruka will probably be able to discover herself. she'll definitely discover how valuable her own existence truly is. And then history too will probably change. Although, this is just a baseless theory, I feel confident that it will work. Satisfied, I crawl into my bed. It seems that tomorrow will be busy. The accident plays in my mind. I'm covered in sweat. I'm sweaty. Pace around my room. And then I realize it's pointless, so I stop. It's the 4th. Very little time left. I've got to find the difference between Haruka and Kurumi. Then I need to protect Haruka no matter what. Steal my resolve and repeat this over and over. Eating breakfast in the living room, Kurumi, Yuka, and Haruka begin discussing their plans for today. Like last time, Haruka says she's going fishing, and so... would it be okay if I went fishing with you? I ask her this, and she nods in agreement. She seems embarrassed as a faint smile comes over her face.
Makoto, どうしたの?
Makoto, what's wrong? I must have spaced out for a while because her large eyes are staring at me. I was just thinking a bit.
何それ?
About what? She seems a little annoyed as her cheeks puff up.
Makoto,
Is it fun being with me? Of course. Answer instantly. It seems that she's so sensitive to others' mood that she was able to pick up on my uneasiness from observing my speech. Now that I think about it, I remember receiving this exact same feeling from Kurumi once. They share strong powers of observation and insight as well as incredible perception. No, wait. I feel like that sensitivity is a common characteristic amongst girls.
Makoto, 引いてる.
Makoto, you've got one. What do you mean? She points to the sea. My line is dragging out to sea. Shortly afterwards, it stops. Rather, you did. I silently reel in the line. There's not even any bait left. Because I wasn't thinking about fishing, I didn't notice it at all. I'm not really in the mood anyways, so I'm not particularly upset.
Makoto, やられちゃったね.
Looks like you lost. Damn, I should be stronger than one measly fish. I act frustrated just once in front of
そんな
Haruka.
こと言ってるから釣れないんだよ.
It's because you say that you're not catching anything. You might be right. The sun sparkles on the ocean. Her smile is as radiant as the sun. When I see that extremely neutral and frank smile, it makes my own existence feel filthy by comparison. If we were the same gender, would this feeling be jealousy? As I place the bait on the hook, I think about that. They really are similar. It goes without saying that Kurumi possesses the same disposition as Haruka. They seem different on the surface, but they really do resemble each other at that essential part. So when it comes down to it, what is the difference that separates them? Something only Haruka has that Kurumi doesn't have. The day ends with nothing special occurring. Tomorrow is swiftly approaching. It feels like watching a sandcastle start to collapse. You can do nothing about it. I spent the entire day fishing with Haruka, but in the end I was unable to find out her decisive raison d'etre. Let me pull it up.
Raison d'etre. Raison d'etre.
Raison d'etre. When night came around, we had the barbecue party. Karumi and Haruka's external differences won't help me out. I feel my restlessness grow stronger. I have a day left. I look at my actions one more time. From the morning onwards, and then at the barbecue. Think about it carefully. The incident between Haruka and Saki at the barbecue didn't happen this time. What does it mean? What is changing in this history? We'll get through this somehow. The flow of time is not set in stone. I know that's a fact from the changes I've seen up until now. Even so, I'm unable to wipe this vague feeling of uneasiness. I throw the covers over my head and fall asleep. Are you awake? I hear a quiet knock along with a clear voice that I'm accustomed to. It's open. Haruka comes into the dim room. Were you asleep? No, I couldn't sleep tonight. What about you? Something up? I wanted to ask you a favor, but tonight's the night she invites me to go see the fireflies. You thought you'd go see them again, and you wanted to invite me. Let's go. We should try to get some more sleep, though. Tomorrow we'll get busy. Do you want my watch? I'll leave the door unlocked so you can wake me up. I promise we'll go see the fireflies with you. Haruka dies shortly before 4:30 a.m. How will I get through this? I'm sorry for making an unreasonable request. I wanted to be with you, so it's fine. I'm embarrassed by what I said. As if to hide that embarrassment, I take her arm and leave the lodge. We begin to walk side by side down the hill. She mutters the same things. Stars are beautiful, and I feel tiny and powerless under them. I don't know if I can protect Haruka. She's beautiful, and I love her. And if I don't save her, I don't know what to do. We arrive at the coastline. And she continues to look up at the shimmering stars. Something wrong. I was just fascinated. Baka. A slightly embarrassed expression rises to her face as she turns towards the black ocean. The ocean breathes salty. I also look at the ocean. Countless lights, tinged with yellow and red. I have no clue why I'm yawning so much. I'm not even tired. Yellow and red lights tinge on the water surface, bobbing away and flickering. No one knows where they come from or what reason they sway. That's why it's called Shiranai, or unknown fire. I know that story too. Of course, I know it because she told me. We stay silent for a short while, entranced by the beauty of light swaying all around. There's this fantastical atmosphere right now, possessing the kind of attractive power a master has painting. A master painting holds. I relax, allowing myself to be absorbed into that atmosphere. Can't be learned about either. That's why Shiranai. Listen carefully and you can hear them. The calling voices of the Shiranai. Close my eyes and mimic Haruka. Haruka closes her eyes and I mimic her. Unfortunately, I'm unable to hear the voices. I just hear Haruka breathing. She's standing so close to me that we're practically nestled together. I entwine my arm with hers, allowing me to hear her heartbeat. I will never let this beating stop. I'm the only one who can protect her. Haruka, I will definitely protect you. She looks at me in confusion. I've sworn these words as an oath to myself. No matter what happens, I will hold on to you. I don't want to lose you again. Makoto, I realize that Haruka is in my chest. She's warm. Her warmth flows into my body, and she gently places a hand on my chest. I won't leave. I also love this world where you exist too much. Haruka. When I look up at the sky, I suddenly see a beautiful stream of light flash by. I will protect her. Once again, I solemnly swear this to myself as I tightly embrace her. The shooting star seems to bless us as it shoots dazzling lights that brighten up the darkness one by one. We hold each other close, and underneath the stars, we hold each other until the night comes to an end.
Makoto? Makoto?
Someone's calling my name. Is that Haruka's voice? Let me sleep a little longer. She grabs my shoulders and rocks them back and forth. We bump into each other again. What are you doing? I remember what you told me. Princess slept for hundreds of years and I was going to kiss you. We're gonna go fishing again. Hang on. I will have to make an edit eventually. I will put a Fisher hat on Haruka. It's the same as it did before. You're the only one I'd ever wake up with that method. We're at the pier once again. 6 times. But this is Haruka's 3rd time. She's all smiles today. Her smile is bright and clear, heavily contrasting the clouds overhead. We're having fun, but I'm worried. I'm uneasy. Haruka, you seem pretty happy.
だって
Well, that's because it's fun being with you.
誠といると楽しい
Up until now, I've never done things like this with another person.
だから
So,
悲しい
don't make that sad face. When you're sad, I'm sad too.
誠が悲しいと
I only have you, Makoto.
私も悲しい
Only you. Only Makoto. Oh no. I wasn't expecting that answer. I must have accidentally let my anxiety show. And Haruka, being as sensitive as she is, must have sensed my subtle shift in mood instantly. She frowns when she sees how unhappy I look. Seems I've made her grow gloomy. Then she leans over my shoulder. I feel her weight against me. My senses become sharply aware of how precious the existence known as Haruka is. What the hell am I doing? I'm supposed to protect her, but all I'm doing is hurting her. Even though she's thinking so much of me, in the end, there's nothing I can do for her. Suddenly, something inside me bursts loudly. Something that Haruka has that Kurumi doesn't. When I think about it, it's so simple. It's the feelings that Haruka has for me, and the love that I have for Haruka. To me, she's precious, and can't be replaced, because she is Haruka, and I love her. There's not a single thing or person that exists in this world that could replace her. I kiss her on the lips. She's very warm. Haruka, I love you. All this time I have loved you. All this... My confession is interrupted midway. I feel Haruka kissing my lips again. Our time slowly passes by, and before long, Haruka gently whispers this.
私も
I love you too. I love you so much. Haruka. Say Haruka, listen carefully. Earlier you said I have no heart, right? But if you don't have a heart, then you shouldn't be able to fall in love with someone. Which means you lied when you said you loved me.
そんなこと
That's not true. I really do love you. Well then, doesn't that mean that you really do have a heart? Bewildered, Haruka averts her gaze from me. Say, Haruka, don't lie to yourself. Since the day you were born, you've had a kind heart. You let go of the fish that you catch because you can feel for them. If you didn't, you would have risked your life to save that puppy. If you didn't have a heart, you wouldn't have risked your life to save that puppy. Don't deceive yourself. Saying things like I have no heart is just you deceiving your own feelings. I'm different from humans, so worthless. I'm a worthless existence that's a replacement for another. That's a pretense you made up yourself. Just a mere delusion. Listen, Haruka. There's not a single person in this world who could ever replace you. I love you because you are who you are. To me, you're the most important existence in the whole world. Someone that can never be replaced by anything else. So never say that again. That you have no heart, or that you're worthless. Never say those things again. We kiss a third time. Before I know it, large teardrops start falling from Haruka's eyes. Her face is soggy with tears, and it is absolutely beautiful. It's a peaceful expression that looks like she's been released from a curse. This is the true Haruka. This is Haruka. My cheeks are warm from her tears. If I were to say anything about the change in Haruka after that, all I can say is that it's beyond description.
それでどうしたの？
And then what happened? When they say how cheerful she is, and how she practically can't be compared to her past self, no one can hide their surprise. Ishihara, what did you do to her? Why is she smiling like that? That should have been my role, Ishihara. Even when the others are in the middle of talking, her eyes are focused on me. Our eyes meet, I give her a broad grin. Haruka smiles at it. I feel happier than ever in my entire life. All that's left is to prevent Haruka's accident. That'll be simple. I just have to stop her from going on that walk with me. And then history should change. Haruka knocks on my door. However, I can't accept her invitation. She'll be hurt. And that's unavoidable.
外行か。
Haruka invites me. It hurts me to deceive her. But the ends justify the means. What should I say? I have a headache.
ほん
Oh, it's pretty bad.
なら
Next time. Wait a minute. Don't tell me that you're going alone, are you? It isn't.
そんな
Because I'm worried. It's dangerous for a girl to take a walk like that at night. If something were to happen, I couldn't go on living without you.
わかった。
If you say so,
そう
Makoto.
言うなら
It seems my words were effective. After all those words were my emotions straight from the heart. And then you absolutely won't go outside today.
じゃあゆっくり休んでね。
I hope you sleep well. After Haruka leaves the room, I really do get a little headache. It's the accumulation of my prolonged anxiety. Crawling into bed, I fall asleep seconds later.
起きてる？
Are you awake? Haruka knocks on my door. No, it's Kurumi.
そうですくるみです。
What is it?
お兄ちゃん忘れちゃった
You
の？
forget.
お昼に
Kurumi said she was coming over to visit.
ほらお兄ちゃんたちもうすぐ帰っちゃうでしょ。
So we're gonna have fun. Now that she mentions it, I did remember her saying that. What do you want to play?
なんでもいいの？
Can we play anything? Nothing too extreme.
くるみ、ほんと言うとお兄ちゃんとおしゃべ
I
り
want to talk to you.
なんだけど、それならなん
What
か
should
考えちゃおうかな。
she's thinking of something. I'm unable to understand her words very well.
それじゃあ
She sits on the bed next to me, acting like she's in deep thought. She's so close to me that her shoulders are almost touching each other. She's blushing a little. At that time, I hear something striking the floor. What was that? No one's in the living room. I survey the entire room, and my gaze turns to the floor. Something in front of my room. At the foot of my door is aspirin. Box of medicine has been thrown considerably hard. It's been smashed. An uneasiness strikes me like pain. I rush over to the front of Haruka's room and knock on her door. I knock harder and there's no response. Haruka, are you there? I hear someone calling from behind.
何やってんの？
Haruka went outside. She's saying she's going to take a walk.
なんだか
This is bad.
みたいだけど。あ、あんたがはるかを
Oh no, I made her cry. Haruka went outside?
から今
No, that's not good. That's not good. It's gonna rain soon. Oh no. I rush out faster than a bullet. I head towards Hill Road.
待って
Then
待ってお兄ちゃん。
Kurumi begs me to stay. I turn around, she's concerned. But I can't stay. I have to go get Haruka. I'll be back soon. I plunge into the darkness after leaving her with these words. Could it be that Haruka knows Kurumi is her original? If that's true, then she was really hurt by this. She saw me, a man with a headache, alone with Kurumi, who is sitting really close to me on the bed. An ominous presentiment crosses my mind. Time passes, and my heart swells more and more, endlessly. Where's Haruka? Nowhere to be found. She's not here. When I come to my senses, it's begun to rain. But I'm all alone this time. If I can find Haruka quickly, then I can save her. There she is, covered in rain. She is very upset with me.
やっぱり本物の方がいいのかなって。
So the real deal is truly the better one after all. You knew who Kurumi was. You're wrong, Haruka. You're the one I love.
よかった。やっぱ
I'm
り
glad.
やっぱり
I
そう言って
believed
くれ
you'd
ると
say
信じ、
that.
誠ならそう言って
Thought
く
that
れる
if it
って
was you,
思っ
you'd
て
say
た。
that.
うん
Are you mad? I think that you made a misunderstanding about Kurumi and
さっきまではそう思っ
I. I
て
see that I was wrong.
部屋の中で楽しそうなくるみと誠を見たら私
I just don't
頭の中が
couldn't
真っ
stand
白
it.
になっちゃって
I saw Kurumi smiling and I just lost control.
いいの聞いてそれで私どうしたらいいのかわからなかった
I didn't know
や
what
っ
to
ぱり
do.
私じゃダメなのかなって
Thought I was no good at all because I'm not the real Kurumi. Haruka, didn't I tell you never to say that again? Her gaze bore straight into me as if she's trying to bring something to my attention. I looked for you. I looked for you because I was worried to death about you. Because I don't want to lose my most precious person.
私
I'm
は
alive,
生きてる
aren't I? Here. As she says that, Haruka takes my palm and pushes it against her chest. Her heart beats. The echo of her life, the trembling of her soul. Proof that she is
どう
alive.
したの頭が痛かっ
Didn't
た
you have a headache? She's playing dumb and making fun of me. She's not doing so out of ill will. I know that. Her heartbeat is telling me that. So you really were the one with the medicine.
外に出て夜風に当たってたら雨が降ってきたの
I was outside when I was hit by the night wind,
それ
and
で
it
気がつ
started
いた
to rain, so I calmed down a bit and realized I was just jealous.
ちょっと前まではそうい
I
う
didn't understand the concept until recently. I didn't know what to do with my own feelings. I didn't know how to handle my growing jealousy.
誠に会って
I've
私は変わっ
since
た
changed since meeting you.
私は私と
I
して
can
生
live
き
as
てい
my
く
own
んだ
self.
だから私とくるみ
Kurumi and I are different, right? It's fine if I trust you, right? Yeah, that's right. Didn't I tell you on the pier? To me, you're the most important existence in this whole world. Someone that can never be replaced by anything.
誠
I embrace the soaking wet Haruka in the pouring rain. My hands tremble as I feel the remaining sensation of her heartbeat. She's with me right now. Her heartbeat is engraving itself within me. A gentle light seems to be driving away the darkness before our eyes. Can I ask you something? Why do you love rain? I mean, water so much? You don't have to force yourself to say it if you don't want to. I'm just curious. It's a bond.
そう、絆。
I remember nothing about my real father,
私、
but the only memory I have
お
of
父さ
him
んの
is
こと
that
ってほとんど覚えてないの。
we were together in the water once.
水の中にお父さんがいたのかもしれないし、私が水の中だったのかもしれない。
It might have been my father in the water or just
その
me
イ
in
メ
the
ージだけ
water.
が鮮
Anyway,
烈に私
it's
の
a
中にあ
vivid
るの。
image of him that I have within me.
だから、
Father in the water.
だから私
And that's why
が好きなの。
I love the water. It's the only bond between me and my father. Don't forget, I'm also here now.
うん、
I embrace her tightly.
嬉しい。
I'm really happy. Shall we head back? She nods. We hold hands. It's very cold. I joke with her. And she looks like she's about to cry.
泣いてなんかない。
She was just pretending to cry.
君、
Crocodile tears are a secret.
変えたのは誠でしょ。
We laugh in the sound of the rainfall. Soaked to the bone and shivering from the cold, we are the happiest people in the world. Then,
あ、子犬。
in that instant, I feel like I've been knocked down to the pits of hell. Hope changes to despair. It's the second coming of my previous nightmare. Saki is frozen in place with an umbrella in hand. The puppy runs towards her at full speed. The car approaches from the other side of the curve. The bright red car with its headlights lit. The puppy runs without looking aside. It hasn't noticed the car, it can only see Saki. The horn pierces my ears. Haruka starts running. I'll protect the puppy. I reflexively rush out into the road. I get ahead of Haruka and pick the puppy up in my arms. Next instant, I am knocked aside with great force. I go rolling to the edge of the road while holding the puppy against my chest. I lift my face and shift focus to the center of the road. Haruka. The one who pushed me away from behind was Haruka. Saki places her hand over her mouth, frozen in place. We watch Haruka's body as it was sent flying. It happens in slow motion. It slowly draws an arc in midair. Her body falls onto the asphalt face up, as if it's been thrown onto it. Time stops. She lies on the ground, not even twitching. Her body is illuminated by the headlights. Everything is the same as before. The puppy leaves my arms and runs over to Saki as if nothing's happened. I can't move. Saki is also baffled. The blood pours out again, and I scream. I couldn't protect her. No, I can't give up here. Something tells me that Haruka's still alive. Her flame of light hasn't flickered out yet. There's a possibility remaining. I'll risk it. Gotta get to the lodge. Saki, I'll leave Haruka to you. We can't give her a blood transfusion. At this rate, if she goes to the clinic, Haruka won't survive. I entrust the driver who hit her to take her to the clinic and start running to seek the one who has the same blood type as Haruka, her original. If I'm looking for her, then she should be at the lodge right now. I run in and finally arrive at the lodge. I enter out of breath and find Yuka and Okuhiko are having a party all to themselves. The area around them has become a mountain of empty beer cans. Okuhiko is bonded with the very drunk Yuka. I firmly hold back explosive anger and survey the room. Kurumi was here when I left, but she's nowhere to be found. Where did she go? I'll ask Yuka. What's your blood type? I'm thinking seriously. Don't talk to me like that. She really reeks of liquor. She's drunk a lot. I'm sorry. Please hurry up and tell me, I'm begging you. A+. No use after all. Okay. Drunkard's not making any sense. She's already gone home. Kurumi's gone home. Okay. We don't have time for that. Haruka's run over by a car. She needs Kurumi's help. Forget it. You don't understand what's going on. I throw myself into the rain. In the end, I couldn't find Kurumi, so I headed back to the clinic. Oh no, I fucked it up. Oh well. Everything repeats as it did before. There we go. There we go. That's the bad end. I'm playing this on a PSP. Totally, absolutely. I'm not playing this on my computer. Don't believe the lies. I am playing this on a genuine PSP. I'm not gonna be told otherwise. There we go. I can go here. Ask him. Okiko, Haruka's in trouble. Okiko stands up. What happened? She was run over by a car. In the next instant, I collapsed from receiving an intense blow. He hit me with a powerful straight left. Why did that happen while she was with you? I'm sorry. What should I do? Okuhiko. I'm not doing this for your sake. I'm doing it for Haruka's. I've never seen him look so serious. He's really serious about her. Listen carefully. To save Haruka, we need a large amount of blood, but the clinic on this island doesn't have any blood compatible with her type in stock. That's why we need to give her a direct blood transfusion, and we have to take it from someone who has B negative like Haruka or O negative. I'm A+. Is there anyone else? Kurumi is B negative. You need Kurumi-chan. She went outside earlier. Did she go back to Luna Beach? I don't know. She didn't say if she was going back. Alright, I'm going to try Luna Beach. You search around this area. By any chance Kurumi comes here, I write down the clinic's contract address on a note and give it to Okihiko and rush out into the rain.
頼んだぞ
I'm counting on you, Ishihara, you fucking asshole. I quickly start running towards the beach. If she's not there, she possibly returned. If she's not here, the possibility she returned is very high. In a worst case scenario, if she's not there, I'll borrow the bicycle at the shop and search faster. I pound on the door with enough force to break in. Who is it? Sumi's is still awake. It's Ishihara. What is it? When I open the door, I see Izumi-san standing there, rubbing the sleep out of her eyes. I'm not counting the stock, you know, Makoto. Give me help. Now's not the time. Is Kurumi back? Kurumi isn't here right now. She said she was going to visit the lodge. She didn't come back here. No. Haruka was in a car accident. She needs a blood transfusion. What? Haruka-chan's been hurt? Calm down, Izumi-san. What's your blood type? Unfortunately, her blood type is O+, positive. So Kurumi is the only one. Haruka's B negative and Kurumi's also B negative, isn't she? Izumi-san frantically nods at my words. I'm relieved and restless at the same time. Kurumi, where are you right now? Even though you're the only one I can rely on. What should we do? Izumi-san, stay here. If by chance she comes by, I want you to take her to the clinic. Write the address and give it to Izumi-san. Well, I'm gonna go look. Is it alright if I borrow the bike? The faster you are, the better. Save Haruka. Give her a powerful nod and jump on the bike. The sharp, piercing pain of the rain obstructs my path. Feels like everything in this world is trying to interfere with my actions. But I have to go. Even if the whole world turns against me, I will save Haruka. Then where should I look? What place would Kurumi go at a time like this? God damn it, calm down. Where would a high schooler go this late on a stormy night? Think calmly. I won't find her if I search blindly. What she wanted to do after I left the lodge. Kurumi had to go outside. What was it? Did she suddenly want to take a walk? Is that it? Why at such an important time? In the first place, why would you go out and take a walk on a rainy night? Although no one else is around, I shout as an urge to them. The slowly creeping shadow of fate makes me anger. I channel my rage into my legs and start pedaling like a speed demon. She's got to be nearby. I'll find her. I mince my shirts for Kurumi. Is she still alive? My memories are correct. My alarm will go off shortly after she dies. That's certainly 4:30 a.m. Because the alarm was set for the time when I went to go see the Shiranai with Haruka. I have a limit of 2.5 hours. Where should I look? Where should I look? Where should I look? Oh god. I slip off the handles. My legs get twisted from pedaling the bike. Although it seems like I'm about to fall countless times, I don't slow down. Kurumi, where are you? I need you. Where should I head next? Where should I head next? Where should I head next? We're at the bike at full speed. Kurumi, answer me! My cries are drowned by the noisy rainfall. It's hard for me to hear myself. Fuck, Kurumi. I need you. If I had been nice towards her, then this probably wouldn't have happened. I bite my lips and continue my search. I come to my stances, and I've been brought to a standstill in the middle of the road. At the scene of Haruka's accident, the rain has washed off most of the blood. The rain shows no sign of stopping. It's getting stronger. My body is soaked. I feel frozen and completely numb. I can barely hold on to the handles. My feet are sluggish on the pedals. I am completely numb, and I cannot find Kurumi. I dropped by Luna Beach at fixed intervals all this time, and there's no sign of her coming back. Even though I've searched so much, I can't find her. It's as if the existence known as Kurumi has vanished from the planet. It's 3:30 in the morning, and I have an hour until my limit is up. Is it too late now? Should I continue searching? There's no way that I'll give up in the end. I swore it. I'll protect her. At this rate, history will repeat itself. I might lose all my memories of her. She will forget about me too.
私は
Suddenly, memories of Haruka rushed through me. When she looked at me, her gaze, the feel of her arms, her warmth, everything. I don't want to forget it. There's something important. I feel like I'm forgetting it. A flash suddenly runs through my head. I remember something. My words. When I left the lodge, I definitely said that. Wait. Trusting everything on my last hope, I ride to the lodge. Kurumi isn't there. Okuhiko found her. She's on the stairs, huddling close together with Okuhiko. They have an umbrella. I was looking for you, Kurumi. The umbrella is designed for men. Did she go outside to try and find me? There's no time to think about that. Let's ride back. Let's hurry and ride back. We pedal faster. Okihiko's gotta leave it to us. We gotta hurry. We gotta hurry. I don't know what happened after that. I came to my senses at the clinic. The bike's chain became wrecked, so it can never be used again. Go into that clinic. I'm counting on you. Please save her. My consciousness drifts away. Haruka, please live. I wake up and see her peaceful, sleeping face before my eyes. That face like she's a sleeping beauty herself. No, sleeping face might not be correct. Haruka, I don't know. I forget the pain, and I kiss her. It's warm. Her breath is warm. She is warm.
眠り姫は
Sleeping Beauty was awakened by a kiss. I'm so happy. I'm so happy that she's alive. I'm just glad that I've ensured her existence. And with that, I'm gonna have to be a cruel, cruel person.
なりきりだからって変なことしちゃダメよ
Oh, the two of us will be alone. That's great. So I'm here to watch over Haruka as she recovers. It's been 2 weeks since I've left the island. I found myself enjoying this happiness. So the next day dawns, and at noon, someone knocks on the door to her room. It's me. And it's Izumi-san.
ごめんなさいお耳
She hasn't been able to visit, and she's very upset about this.
あの晩
I was really worried from the bottom of my heart.
いろいろ
Haruka is like my little sister.
はるかは
She is our little sister. We are blood related.
このいい考え方よね
I just want you to forgive me.
なこと。そうね。
So, Uzumi-san is forgiven, and she talks to her sister, and then she leaves the
ほんと
hospital.
よ。それにあの時お兄ちゃんったら何も
And I have to stop. I genuinely have to stop.
どっかさらわれちゃうのかと思ったよ。結構怖かったんだからね。
So, y'all have a good one. I'll be back.